Well, hello everybody. Ho, ho, ho. It's Christmas time here at the Van Buren Variety Show. So glad you're here. Christmas at this time is just a few days away, so hope you've all got your shopping done because you're running out of time very, very quickly. So to my audience and subscribers that come in week after week, welcome to the Van Buren Variety Show. Welcome back, actually. And to the newcomers that are just now coming on board, we welcome you too. And thanks so much for all your support for this entire year. I've had a great, great year this year of guests and learning more about their interests and their professions and music. So it has been a wonderful, wonderful year here at Van Buren Variety. And I couldn't do it without you, my subscribers, my audience, my listeners. So thank you very much for your support. As you can see, this is a Christmas special today. So I've got a couple of things I want to share with you today. First of all, I have a Christmas sermon that was given to us at my church by one of our preachers there. It's only an audio sermon, so you'll be able to hear him. But in the meantime, while you're listening to the sermon, it's about 20 minutes long. I have a bunch of vintage Christmas pictures I can show in the meantime. And by the time that's over, around 7:30ish until the end of the show, I've got some special guests coming in on the show. They'll talk about their favorite Christmas memories, as well as my own too. So I hope you will stick around for that because we got a lot of things going on tonight. Now, when people ask if you're ready for Christmas, you usually get a mixed bag. Some people say they're ready. Some people say they're not ready. Some people say, I don't know. So usually when you ask this question, just the kind of responses you get. Listen.
Is everybody getting ready for Christmas? Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are ready and some people are not ready. But you better be ready pretty soon because this guy will be coming around the corner very, very soon. So I hope you've been very, very good, boys and girls that are watching this. So anyway, thank you very much for all of your support this year. And to the newcomers that's tuning in for the first time, remember, this is a variety show. And each week I normally have an interesting guest on to talk about an equally interesting subject. It could be a person's profession. It might be their hobby. They might have an instrument they want to play or just a general interest. So make sure you check it out and hit that subscribe button. That really, really does help. So without further ado, I'm going to turn my camera off and I'm going to show you some vintage photos from Christmases past. Stuff I've got in my own collection. Some pictures people have given me to show on the show tonight, and stuff I found off the internet. I thought they were within part of the show. So enjoy that. And without further ado, I'll bring you in for 20 minutes. It's a sermon called "Are You Ready for Christmas?" Well, we just talked about that. So hope you enjoy the show, and I'll be back at about 7:30 with other guests to talk about our own Christmas memories. So we'll start the show right now.
Well, hello. First off, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year coming up. Hopefully the holidays are a wonderful time for everybody. Question I think that we're undoubtedly going to hear many times between now and December 25th is this: are you ready for Christmas? Yeah, I suppose what's really being asked is, have you put up all your Christmas decorations? Have you finished your Christmas shopping? Have you mailed your Christmas cards? Have you put
Well,
on
it
your
looks like I'm having
calendar in
some
your
audio
phone
difficulties. I
all
don't know
the
if you can
places
hear
that you're
what's going
supposed to go?
on.
Are you ready for Christmas?
So let me
You know,
know if y'all
back
are
in the
hearing
day, I
this
used
sermon
to
right now.
wait until December 24th to do any of my Christmas shopping, back before the internet was where you went and did all your shopping. I guess I thought it was.
Can anybody tell me if they're hearing anything? I'm not hearing anything on my side. I can hear it in my earphones, but I don't think it's being broadcast. So always a live show, isn't it? So let's try this again. Let's see. Sorry about that, folks. You can't do anything about a live show. So let's see. Okay, let's try it again. And let me know if you can hear that. Let me know if y'all can hear this, okay?
The true meaning of Christmas. I loved waiting and going into the malls. Yeah, it'd be packed, but it was, for me, a fun time. I'd go in there. The only part I didn't like was you park on one end of the mall and you go shopping and you've got to go all the way back to the other end of the mall and carry all your packages to your car. But I would always wait till the 24th and experience the true Christmas feeling. You know, we meet ourselves coming and going at this time of the year, So we call it the Christmas rush, and everyone just kind of expects it and just accepts it. And it gets kind of hectic and it gets kind of crazy around that time. Sometimes the Christmas season becomes so hectic, and because of that, we tend to forget much of the reason for the season. I think this rushing and worrying about gifts, parties, the lights on the trees, the lights on our houses, is why so many people, including a whole lot of Christians, want to remove Christmas from the church. I know a few that would get mad if I ever led a Christmas song during church services. There was even a couple that flat walked out of this church service because I led a Christmas song. You know, there's a pretty good Christmas story about a little girl who watched her mom and dad getting ready for Christmas. To her, it seemed that dad was preoccupied with burdens and bundles and worries about what's going on and trying to get everything set up. Mom was always concerned about parties and presents and making sure the decorations were just right. Just didn't have any time for her. She felt that she was being shoved aside. In fact, it seemed to her that she was always being told, "Would you please get out of the way?" So one night in December, she knelt beside her bed and she prayed this prayer: "Our Father who art in heaven, please forgive us our Christmases as we forgive those who Christmas against us." You see, when I ask the question, "Are you ready for Christmas?" I'm asking about more than your activities. I'm asking about your attitudes, because every once in a while I hear someone say, "I just can't get into the Christmas spirit." You know, I don't remember ever saying that, but I may have thought it. So let's think again about what Christmas really means. Christmas says that God became a human being. God expressed his love by living among us, by walking with us and talking to us and being here for us. That is what Christmas means. God became a human being for us. But what are the right attitudes that we ought to have so that Christmas can really happen in our homes, in our lives, in our whole being? A few minutes, I'd like to look and turn our attention to the Christmas story. Let's turn over and let's read in Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 through 25. This is how the birth of Jesus Christ came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph. But before they came together, she was found to be with child through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was a righteous man and did not want to expose her to the public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She'll give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet: "The virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel," which means God with us. When Joseph awoke, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him and took Mary home as his wife. But he had no union with her until she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Jesus. You know, I really like Joseph. He doesn't stand in the spotlight very long, and really we don't know a whole lot about his life, especially once Jesus started his ministry. But Joseph can teach us a whole lot about attitudes that can make Christmas real in our lives, make Christmas a true thing that we truly understand and love. First of all, Joseph, he teaches us to be ready to accept God's will, whatever it might be. Joseph was open to the will and the leading of God. Put yourself in his position for a minute. Joseph thought his life was pretty well planned. He had a solid job. He was pledged to be married, which means that he and Mary had made all the necessary arrangements. They had given all the dowries and everything was set up and ready to go. The wedding ceremony was soon to take place. Joseph knew that he would marry Mary and that they would settle down in Nazareth. He would continue on in his carpentry business. They would live happily ever after together. But then Mary came to him and said, "Joseph, I'm expecting a baby. It must have hit him like a ton of bricks. He thought that Mary had loved him as much as he loved her, but now, seemingly, she had been unfaithful to him. He knew the child wasn't his, and so the only conclusion he could reach was that she had been unfaithful in sin. She had broken the bond that existed between them. And according to the law back in the Old Testament times, and with the law that they were living under, Mary should have been stoned to death. But Joseph loved her so much that he didn't want that, so he decided to divorce her quietly. As he was thinking about this, an angel came to Joseph in a dream and pretty much said, Joseph, trust God. He's in this. He's here for you. You may not understand all that's happening, but trust God and everything will be all right. Joseph evidently was a man of faith, but sometimes it's hard to live by faith. If God always does what we expect him to do, then maybe it's an easy thing to live by faith, right? But when God doesn't do what we want or what we expect, then it's hard. Joseph trusted God, even though he must have had a list of questions a mile long. He trusted God because he believed that God's will was best. We find ourselves in much the same position as Joseph, I guess. I mean, not all of us are expecting an unplanned baby, but Christmas comes as a time of peace. That's what all the commercials say, right? But there's conflict all over the world. Turn on the news and that's all you can see. That's all you see on almost every single news website. Christmas comes as a time of joy, but there's so much sadness in the world. Christmas comes as a time of love, but there's so much hatred in our world. We cry out like Joseph must have cried out, God, how can this be? But like Joseph, we hear a still small voice from God saying, trust me. God's ways aren't always our ways. It's not what we want. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and we may never understand everything that God is doing this side of heaven, but God says, trust me, it's all going to work out. Paul wrote in Romans 8:28, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Christmas happened because Joseph trusted God. We need to learn to trust God too. We need to learn to just accept his will as being right and being the best for each and every one of us. The second thing that Joseph teaches us in this is we need to learn to care about other people. Joseph's assignment in all of this was a pretty simple one. And that's pretty much the way he's often portrayed in all the Christmas plays and all the pageants. We picture Mary looking so angelic. Over here are the excited shepherds, and over there's the wise men with their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. And in the middle of them all is the Christ child in the manger, looking so pure and clean. The star is overhead, all is quiet. And over there on the side stands Joseph. He isn't in a starring role, but his role is so important in all this. His task is this, a simple one. Take care of Mary and the baby Jesus. Joseph had the important role of caring for the needs of others. Christmas comes once a year, and this season probably causes us to be a little more sensitive to the needs of others. I mean, why do you think all the Santas are outside the stores ringing their bells, right? But there is so much that needs to be done that we often find ourselves frustrated. For the most part, we still try. For the most part, we still try to do the best we can to help out when we can. Maybe the finest descriptive title and the best and most, or the finest title that can be given to a church is this, a church that really cares. I think that's something good. I think that's something that every church should aim for and strive for, is being a church that really cares. One of my favorite stories is about a young couple with an 18-month-old son who had gone to spend a few days with the grandparents at Christmas. Christmas Day that year, like this year, fell on a Sunday, and the young father had to be back at work on Monday morning. So right after going to church together, the family said their goodbyes and set off for home. They weren't many filling stations that were open. There weren't many restaurants that were open along their way. So when they stopped at a gas station that they found that was open, they decided to go ahead and get something to eat there inside the diner. They went inside this little dimly lit diner and sat down and found that they were pretty much the only customers, or at least they thought so. Then their little son, Eric, said, "Hi there, hi there." He was putting two words together, "hi there," and made them into one, "hi there." And every time he said that, there's a response from a table over by the door. It said, "Hi there, little boy. Hi there, little boy." They looked over there at this alcove, this little table, and saw this old, ragged, tattered-looking man. His coat was way too big. It was old. It was torn. His pants drug the floor. His shoes had holes in them. One of his toes actually stuck out. He had an old hat that was tilted to the side, and his face was unshaven. And when he smiled, revealed that almost all of his teeth were gone. And yet, for some reason, little Eric was attracted to this old man. He kept saying, "Hi there, hi there." And every time the old man would answer. Finally, the old man said, "Little boy, do you know how to patty cake?" Sure enough, from across the room, Eric started patty caking. "Well, little boy, do you know how to play peekaboo?" Sure enough, Eric held his hands over his eyes and played peekaboo too. There was an instant connection between little Eric and this old man who was obviously a reject of society. Eric's parents felt uneasy. The husband whispered to his wife, "Let's hurry up and eat our food and get out of here as quick as possible." So they gulped down their food, and then he said, "I'll go pay for the food. You get Eric, get out the door to the car." She started for the door, hoping to get out with any problems, but as they passed the old man, Eric reached out his arms and strained and pulled away from his mom and got around the old man's neck, and he sat there with his head on his shoulder. The old man closed his eyes and just talked to him. Tears started falling down his cheeks. For a long moment, he held that child, and he loved it. And as he did, he looked up at the mother and said, "You take good care of this boy." She answered, "I will, sir." And then he handed Eric back and he said, "Thank you. Thank you so very much. You've given me the greatest Christmas present I've ever had." Christmas came because Joseph cared about Mary and Jesus. It will also come for us when we learn to care about others too. You know, it's really hard in today's world though, huh? Satan's made it to where we're having trouble just trusting people that we don't know. A stranger comes into church, and now, because of all the church shootings that we've had, we really scrutinize them, don't we? We really look at them and we try to see, is there danger here? Is there something wrong with this person? You know, this person is, they don't dress up as nice as we do. This person isn't looking as good as we are. Their clothes are poor. But Christmas came because Joseph cared. If we really want Christmas to come, we have to learn how to care. We have to learn how to trust God and care for those who are around us. Third thing Joseph teaches us is that Christmas came to Joseph because Joseph gave. He gave whatever he had to give. He didn't know that after Jesus was born that he'd have to take Mary and the baby into Egypt. He didn't know that he would be separated from his hometown, and that his loved ones he'd be separated from his loved ones for a long time. He didn't know that he'd have to give up his job. He didn't know that all the demands that would be put on him, his time and his pocketbook. But whatever God asked of Joseph, he freely gave. That is what Christmas is, isn't it? When God gave himself, Christmas happened. When Joseph gave himself, Christmas happened. There's nothing wrong with giving gifts, but the greatest gift is the gift of love, of giving freely of yourself. There's a story about a young boy named Billy. He was a 7th grade student. He was bigger than any of the other students in his class. You know, his mom had been an alcoholic when he was born, so as a result, Billy just didn't have all the mental capabilities that the rest of his classmates had. But somehow, he managed to get by. Christmas time came and his class decided to put on a Christmas pageant. Since he was the biggest, Billy was selected to be the innkeeper. After all, the innkeeper is supposed to be kind of the villain of the Christmas story. So they coached Billy to be just as mean as possible, mean as he ever could be. Well, the night came for the Christmas play, and in it, Mary and Joseph came to Bethlehem. They went to the inn. They knocked on his door. Billy opened the door and said, "What do you want?" Just as mean as he could and as gruff as he possibly could. Joseph said, "We need a room. We need a place to stay tonight." You'll have to stay somewhere else," Billy said. "There's no room here. There's no room in the inn." Joseph said, "But my wife's expecting a baby any time now. Isn't there some place where we can stay, where we're protected from the cold and she can deliver her child?" "No," Billy said. "There's no room here." Suddenly there was silence on the stage. It was one of those embarrassing moments when you know that someone's forgotten their lines. From behind the curtain you could hear the prompter saying, "Be gone, be gone." Billy was supposed to speak, but for some reason he had choked up and forgotten to say, "Be gone." Finally, after he had been coached for several long seconds, Billy managed to say, "Be gone." Mary and Joseph sadly turned to leave, but just as they did, Billy said, wait a minute. You can have my room." The director of the play was ready to pull her hair out because she knew the whole pageant had just been ruined. But had it? Maybe Billy, better than anybody else, communicated the real spirit of Christmas. You can have my room. You can have my life. That is what God said at Christmas time. You can have me. I give myself to you, and I will take all of your sins. That's still the greatest gift of all. John 3:16, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. So let me ask you, are you ready for Christmas? I don't know if you'll be able to get all your shopping done or not. I don't know if you're going to be able to attend all the events that you wanted to attend. But I hope that you're ready in attitude. I hope that you're ready for the real spirit of Christmas to come. Because if you're ready for that, it'll happen. It'll happen in the greatest of ways. Jesus stands before each and every one of us today, inviting us to make the important decision about our lives, about our eternity. He extends his nail-pierced hands. He says, "I have given my all for you. I gave you my life. Will you give me your all?" There's all kinds of times in this world when we truly, we just have a hard time feeling positive. But when we stop and think about the Christmas story, when we stop and think about the true meaning of what it is to be a child of God and to have received that gift from God, then it becomes a little bit easier for each and every one of us to have a little faith in God, to trust God that he knows what he's doing in this world and that everything's going to be all right. Makes it easier for us to give of ourselves, to let us take time for others instead of just focusing on ourselves. And then it makes it easier for us to understand how it is to be there for somebody else, to support somebody else, and to help and lift them up in all that they do. Once again, I want to say thank you, and I want to ask you, are you ready for Christmas?
Well, that was a wonderful, wonderful sermon. That was from Wally White from the church that I go to. That was a sermon he gave us last week. And so I wanted him to share that with us with my show tonight. So I hope you all enjoyed that, along with the vintage photos that I had. Thank you all, those that sent me photos of your past Christmases. That went really, really, really well with the topic tonight. So now we're going to be talking about Christmas memories, and I invite even those of you in chat right now. We'd love to hear your Christmas memories. Wow, my favorite Christmas memories. It's hard to talk about because there's just so many. Where do I start? But well, long story short, my parents divorced, and mom moved us in with her parents, which is my grandparents, and I had a couple of uncles, and it was a great Christmas. I mean, great family getting together, playing games, having a Christmas dinner, just having family together for Christmas. I have to say that in the broad sense of the word, but a lot of the family members that were there back then are not with us anymore. Like my grandparents, for example, are gone, and but the memories that they have that they've given us and given me last a lifetime. So that means more to me than presents and Christmas dinners and just the togetherness that we had back then. I'll never forget those. So lots of Christmas memories, but family to me is what I mean has meant the most to me. So let me bring some other people on board now. We're talking about Christmas memories and just Christmas overall, and wish you all my Van Buren Variety subscribers and audience, and wish you a very Merry Christmas as well. So here's a person that you probably all know and love by now. Those of you that subscribe to Texas Front Porch, you already know who it is, don't you? I bet you do. Let's bring him on now. Well, hello, Tex. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Well, we just finished with the sermon for earlier, and I had some vintage Christmas pictures as well. So as you can see, I guess I look like I'm getting ready for Christmas. So do you have any Christmas memories or Christmas ideas that you like to share with everybody?
You know, um, I've got several favorite Christmas memories. Um, and there, I was trying to think of, memories of me when I was a little kid and that type of thing. But my favorite Christmas memories are all of my kids' first Christmas.
Oh, wonderful.
You know, and not only that, when they get about 4 or 5 years old, it's really, they still have that belief, they still have that thing going, and you're putting the cookies and milk out, you're doing this kind of thing,
Uh-huh.
put on their stockings, and they wake up and
Exactly.
they got the presents from Santa under the tree, and they're all excited and everything. We went as far one year. We knew we were getting a dusting of snow the night on Christmas Eve,
Mm-hmm.
and I went out and put reindeer tracks on the porch.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and and because we had put reindeer food out, we'd made some reindeer food the night before with the kids, and then we put that out, and so yeah, I put reindeer tracks on the porch and everything.
Oh, wow.
And it's something that they probably don't remember. They were probably too young, but it's something I really enjoyed. And in fact, last night, my grandson is 4 years old, and we did Christmas with him last night.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's kind of it's you kind of get to do that all over again with your grandkids.
Exactly.
It's but those are my happiest memories for Christmas. I've got some from me being young that really stand out. When my dad, when I got my first shotgun for Christmas and everything. But my favorite ones are definitely, with my kids. So,
Sure. With family, like I talked about too. So
mhm.
that's great. So yeah, but we're all ready. And ladies and gentlemen, I have somebody else that'll celebrate Christmas with us on this special Christmas episode of the Van Buren Variety that you all know too. Hello, Krista. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Fine. Thank you for being a part of the Christmas special on Van Buren
Thanks for
Variety
asking.
tonight.
Yeah,
Well, we had a little sermon earlier. I showed some
I heard.
vintage Christmas, and we talked about our Christmas memories. So, do you have
Mhm.
a special Christmas memory you'd like to share with us?
I actually do. It's kind
Okay.
of, I'm 10 days out with losing my mom.
Oh,
And there was for years, for Christmases, oh my gosh, as long as I've been moved out, every year for Christmas, my mom and my grandma would go to Sam's Wholesale
uh
and I would get big boxes of toilet paper.
huh. Oh,
True story. Every Christmas, we could always count on we were getting big boxes of toilet paper, and you know what? It come in handy. And at
I'm
first,
sure it did.
first couple of years, we laughed about it, but after that, we just became to expect it. So now I don't get any more boxes of toilet paper this year.
Hey, it's the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Right. I mean, they would get other things too, but that was always one that we would all laugh about, because we all knew we're getting one of them big Sam's boxes. So yeah, it was just kind of funny.
One thing I remember when I was still a kid, getting gifts from Santa, I'd leave out the proverbial cookies and milk,
Hmm.
and I'd get up the next day, and sure enough, there'd be cookie crumbs, and then you could tell the milk was already drank, and the napkin was dirty. So like,
Yeah.
oh, he was here.
Yep.
So, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember asking my mom. I'm like, 'cause, we lived in a little small house at the time when I was a kid, and I said, but we don't have a chimney. I always heard Santa come down the
Mhm.
chimney. But her response was, well, we let him through the front door, so
Right.
that was okay with me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have memories as a kid, even like looking at the North Star and, thinking that was Santa. I always thought that was Santa coming. So
Hmm.
really great memories, honestly, as a kid.
I think one of the greatest memories that I remember having when I was a little kid, and even with my kids growing up, was watching the weatherman track Santa.
Oh, I love the Santa tracker. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep. Oh, yeah. And they still have the Santa tracker out.
that do they? I didn't know if they still
I know
did
they
that.
did. I haven't seen it lately.
Yeah. I know, like last year and the year before, you could always see it on Facebook. And I know some of the news channels around here in St. Louis area, have that. So it's kind of cool.
A few times in my life, I actually did have a white Christmas. I wake up the day and there'd be snow on the ground. It seemed like really was Christmas then. When there'd be,
Yeah.
even if it was just a little bit, it was still a white Christmas. I remember that so well.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Good memories.
Well, let me ask you, Tex and Krista, this. What do y'all think, if you have to think back when you were a child, was there anything that stuck out? Well, you mentioned the toilet paper, Krista, but that was the most unusual Christmas gift. I know what mine is. I was 4 years old, and I woke up, and there were all these toys from Santa, but on the big stand was a bird cage. So Santa brought me a parakeet for Christmas one year. I remember thinking, man, didn't that bird freeze flying on the sleigh like that? But I guess Santa had his way. But so, yeah, I got a parakeet for Christmas one year
Wow.
from
Good
Santa.
one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Besides the toilet paper, that's honestly the oddest gift. Or my grandma, she would get some really awful, ugly, like clothes. She would
Oh,
go
really?
clothes shopping, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but they were awful. So they would sit for a year in my closet with the tags on them still. And finally, here just probably the last 5 years, I finally got rid of them all. But yeah, I mean, her heart was in it, and she meant well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think we've all had that where we've all opened up a gift and I try to be graceful, maybe it's some clothes or something, and in the back of my mind, like, but I would wear it anyway, not to hurt anybody's feelings, like, it's okay, I'm gonna wear this to work, I'm gonna wear this to school, whatever, and I'm like, okay, at least like they saw me in it, so that it
yep.
was a good thought. It was a thought, though.
I don't remember getting anything. I remember. I guess it was 3 different Christmases. I remember getting my shotgun when I was, I guess I was 12,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember getting a go-kart for Christmas one year.
Mm.
Wow,
But
that's a great gift.
it was like the only thing that I got. The whole family pitched in, and there used to be a picture of me floating around in this big burly coat, snow on the ground. It was Christmas morning. I was all over the place with that go-kart. But honestly, most of my Christmas presents were camping gear.
Oh, well,
Good gifts, though.
hey, that comes in handy,
Yeah.
And because I remember going through the Sears catalog
I remember
and
those.
Yep.
circling things that you wanted. You know, that's
Oh
how we
yeah.
did a Christmas Christmas list.
Yeah.
And I was always in the camping gear, you know.
Yeah. I was in the
But
Barbies. I liked
oh yeah,
Barbies.
Oh, really? Did you collect them?
Just I had them often for many years. You know, I played with them for a long time, and finally, I got rid of them when I was probably about 12.
Wow. I think one of my favorite. I was thinking about what was my best Christmas present ever. I'm talking about physical gifts. I remember this. And I'm gonna age myself when I say this, but my best Christmas present was I might have been 12, 13. But they gave me a stereo. My family gave me a stereo unit with the big speakers. It had a record player. It had a cassette deck in there, and it had an 8-track player. So I
Wow.
thought I was on cloud nine. I like, oh. And it played 33
Hmm.
albums, 45, and played 78s, the old 78. So
Wow.
I had that record player for a while, more than
Hmm.
10, 12 years, and it finally I just wore it out. I played it all the time.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
remember that was probably one of my favorite gifts I got for Christmas.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm fortunate. You know, I really did have a good childhood, and I do have really good memories of Christmas, and, very fortunate.
That's awesome. We got, and I told people in chat to kind of share their memories with us too.
Hmm.
Anita has one. I'm gonna put it up here. She said, "I remember putting out carrots for the reindeer and mini marshmallows and cookies for Santa." Oh, that's cool. But then
Yep.
she followed that story up with this. I dropped the marshmallows all the way to the fireplace. My son talked about that for days to everyone,
Yep.
and that he said those reindeer made a big mess. That's a good one, Anita.
That is a good one. That is a real good one.
Oh, oh, he was 4 years old. Yeah, that's the
Aw,
perfect age for that. Yeah.
right, right.
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you what. Some of the memories that I have, after my kids was Christmas Eve when you had to stay up late, and then you had to put everything together,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and then 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, the kids are ready to kids are up. Hey, it's
And
Christmas,
you're dead. You're dead. You're
and
like
you're
you've been up
dead
on.
tired, and it's like, oh,
Oh yeah. Yep. Still, I always tell the kids, I'm fortunate now. My girls are old enough; they really don't believe anymore. So we do our Christmas on Christmas Eve, so we all get to sleep in. So
there you go.
Oh, Be Kind has a memory. Read this one. I remember the neighbors scooping up some of our pet rabbit droppings, putting them in a paper bag that said "Merry Christmas from Rudolph." Oh, that's a good one.
that is a good one.
But
Yeah.
no Christmas will be complete when I was a kid without watching all, not one, all the Charlie Brown Christmas special,
Hmm.
the Grinch, and then Frosty the Snowman. With Burl Ives,
Yep.
as the
Yep.
snowman. Those were must see. And Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yep.
Those were I had to watch those. It wasn't Christmas without those shows.
What was your favorite?
Oh wow, I like Frosty the Snowman.
Hmm.
Not Frosty. Rudolph. The Rudolph with Burl Ives as a snowman.
Yeah.
So.
Me too, because of the abominable snowman,
Yep.
because he's kind of like the Yeti.
I'm sure,
Yep.
I'm sure Tex liked that one, right?
I'm
Oh yeah,
sure.
that was always my favorite. Bumble. Yeah.
Right. There's some good
Oh,
ones though.
In fact we've got a Bumble about that tall that sits next to the Christmas tree. So
did y'all
I've
watch
always
those?
been a Bumble fan.
Do they still show those on television? I don't
Oh
know if they
yeah.
still.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they still did that or not. So
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I still watch them too if I think about it.
Yeah.
yeah, they had that, and of course now that a little older, the I guess you could say the thing in my family that we have to watch every Christmas for the last 30 years. We have to watch Chevy Chase and Christmas Vacation.
Hmm.
That has
Oh
become a
yeah.
must watch.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one, and what's the one? The Little Red Rider BB gun.
Oh, the Christmas Story.
Christmas Story. That's a good one too.
I've never seen that.
Really.
Really?
Yep. Never
Oh, you
seen that.
should.
Um now I think my wife's favorite movie is she's a big Jimmy Stewart fan.
Oh, let me guess. It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Miracle on 34th Street. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah.
about that one. Yeah.
Yep.
But my favorite character in talking about Christmas Vacation, I like them all. But man, Cousin Eddie, everyone
Yeah.
I think in their family has a Cousin Eddie in their family because I know, and I've had to talk to other people at work and school, like they relate Cousin Eddie to one of their relatives. I'm like, well, that movie was on point, I think, with relatives, how they crash an event or whatever. So yeah, Cousin Eddie's pretty funny to me.
Yep. And you mentioned Charlie Brown Christmas. That's a good one too. I like that one.
Yeah.
For a
My
long,
wife's
oh,
a
wait.
big Snoopy and Charlie the Brown fan. We've got she does. Oh, it's peanuts all over the house. So,
Nothing wrong with that.
For a long time,
outside and everything else.
we had a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. That little bitty Christmas tree they had.
Mhm.
They sold them in stores. We had that for the longest time. It was a Charlie Brown Christmas tree,
Yeah.
just for that. So
I do remember, and Bob will remember this: a Christmas tree that I'm probably going to hell for.
I know I don't know what you called it. I called it the Wayside Christmas tree. There's a reason why I call it Wayside.
Yeah.
I'll let you tell it. It was your tree. So
we now we I was in my 20s,
mm-hmm.
and it was me and two other guys that lived together. We shared an
Mm-hmm.
apartment together, and of course we this was in our partying days.
Oh yeah.
And if you were a if a girl came over to visit, she had to contribute to the Christmas tree.
Guess how she contributed?
Do I want to know?
We had we had unmentionables and beer cans decorating our
The Christmas tree.
Right.
So yeah, I'm probably going to hell for that one. I earned that trip.
And the reason I call it the Wayside Christmas tree, that doesn't exist anymore. But there was a
There
truck
was a-
stop.
Yeah, there was a truck stop.
It was called Wayside, and they were known for, well, might as well say it, drugs, prostitution.
Right.
So I thought, well, a slutty name for a slutty Christmas tree. That's why I called it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can't believe you brought that up, Tex. I was going to say something like, nah, he might be too embarrassed. Oh, wow.
Wow.
I think I saw Rob pop in, but
It looked like his devices weren't connecting or something, so I was hoping he'd come back in. I don't see him now.
let me send him the link here.
Okay. And people that are watching this live, and those of you not watching live, if you're watching this days, weeks, months later, please leave a comment. Share your memories. We'd love to hear your Christmas memories as well. It can be funny. It can be outrageous, sentimental, whatever. And appreciate the people that's already been commenting so far. One thing I don't like about Christmas, I don't know why, I don't mind decorating the tree. I don't mind taking it down. But for some reason, I've never liked putting up and taking down the outside lights. I don't know why. I don't like that. I hate. And this year, last time, I actually paid someone to do it for me.
I usually go way out for Christmas, and this year I just put up one tree. I usually put up lights outside, and I have 3 or 4 trees, and I just did one tree this year. Called it good. So, yeah.
Hey,
What's your
Tex,
favorite,
you're on mute. Tex is on mute.
Yeah.
Rob's getting ready for his show.
Oh, okay. What do you say, Krista?
I was going to say, what's your favorite Christmas carols?
Oh, man, Christmas carols. I'm kind of partial to "O Come All You Faithful."
Mm-hmm.
I like that. The reason being, years ago in high school, I won't tell you how long ago that was, I was part of a club, and we went around Christmas caroling to different houses. Mostly people that we knew in my family, but one of the songs that we sang was "O Come All You Faithful."
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember that to this day. So that's probably one of my favorite Christmas carol.
Good deal. What about you, Tex?
It's probably a tie between Little Drummer Boy
I like that. Mm-hmm.
and Do You Hear What I Hear?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
Good
love
ones.
that one. Hmm.
Those are good ones. Very
What
good.
about you?
I like Silent Night.
That's good. Uh-huh.
And then not really Christmas Carol, but of course, Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's just a classic there.
One of the most sentimental Christmas songs we're talking about, if we're talking about Christmas songs, have y'all heard the one called The Christmas Guest? It's sang by Grandpa Jones. And it's really not a song per se, but look that up when you get a chance, called The Christmas Guest by Grandpa Jones. And what it is, uh, he's telling a story, Grandpa Jones is, about a man. He was poor, had no family, no relatives, really no friends.
Hmm.
And he was preparing a meal for Christ to come. He actually thought, was preparing a physical meal. Well, he kept waiting and waiting. He wouldn't show up. Well, anyway, a knock came at the door. And if I remember right, it was a bum. It was a homeless guy, hadn't eaten in weeks. And the guy said, well, I prepared this meal for Jesus, but I'll let, this guy's hungry, so I'll feed him, He didn't eat everything. So the man left. And this guy, it was on Christmas Eve, and he's like, okay, I'm waiting for my Lord to come have supper with me. He didn't show up. And later on, this woman came by, and she was also poor and hadn't, eaten in days. So he's like, well, I'm going to be giving her some food. I'm preparing for the Lord, but he felt
Hmm.
sorry for her. So he sent her on her way, and she left after she ate. Later on, an hour later, and the Lord hadn't come, and he's getting really, really sad. And this little child knocked the door, and she's crying. She's lost, and she can't find her way home. And so he said, well, I'm waiting for my Lord to come eat supper with me. So he wrote a note, left on the table. Lord, I'll be right back. I got to take this little child home to her parents. So he took the child, and he found her home. He guided her home. Parents, mother, father were thanking him and welcomed the child. So he rushed back home, hoping that, the Lord's going to be waiting for me. He's not there. So after a while, it went after midnight. Now Christmas Eve is over. And this man, he just fell to his knees crying. He said, Lord, I prepared this wonderful supper for you. Why didn't you spend time with Christmas Eve? This is kind of emotional. I might get emotional talking about this. The Lord said, why are you crying? He goes, I was at your house 3 times tonight. I was the bum, the homeless guy, and you fed me. I was the woman that hadn't eaten in weeks, and you fed me. I was the lost child, and you guided me home. So, and then the song ends, for 3 times I knocked, and 3 times your door was open. I'm like, boy, that really speaks volumes.
Wow, yeah, that does.
But it's called The Christmas Guest, everybody, by Grandpa
Yeah.
Jones, if you want to look that up.
Grandpa Jones. I'll have to look into that.
It's very, it's fair. You will, Nikki, you'll
Yeah,
get teary
a
eyed.
tearjerker, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, here's one of my favorite songs, Christmas songs, is Hard Rock Candy Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But now here's a debate that's been going on for years and years and years. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I heard that. I say yes, it is, but that's just
Yeah,
me.
why not? That's a great movie too.
And see, I also think Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie.
I forgot about that.
Well, could be, I guess.
Yeah.
Die Hard's a good movie. But what really gets me? I mean, I cringe because a lot of that movie, Bruce Willis is barefooted.
Yeah.
And he walks sometimes on this broken glass, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I can imagine how that would feel on my feet. So sometimes I watch that when I'm cringing, like, oh no.
Yeah, that'd be painful.
Well, let's talk about Christmas artists or Christmas songs. I've got all kinds of good Christmas music in my living room to listen to, but probably my favorite one is the Carpenters. I love the Carpenters Christmas, and because she's got this angelic voice, and it's very calm and very relaxing. I liked her, and I liked it's a 50s and 60s guy. Not many people have heard of him anymore. Called Ray Conniff. He had a whole bunch of Christmas albums, and it's a big choir singing. So Ray Conniff and the Carpenters are probably my favorite artist Christmas albums. Do y'all have any favorite Christmas albums?
I would say the one that I like, and I do have her on my playlist, is Dolly Parton has some really good Christmas music out. I would say that she would be my top.
I've got a compilation of favorite country artists singing different songs, and one of them was Dolly Parton singing "Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer."
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I'm gonna have to go with Elvis.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about Elvis's Christmas songs. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Blue Christmas, you know?
Yep.
Yep.
Blue
Wow.
Christmas.
Blue,
Yep.
blue, blue Christmas. Yeah.
Yep. Elvis is a good one too.
But of course, there's so many.
Of course, I'm an Elvis fan anyway. So
Hmm. Have you ever been to Graceland?
yes,
Long time ago.
Me too.
40
Several
years ago.
times.
Yeah.
it amazed me how, because when you take that tour and you find out how generous that man was,
Hmm.
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
you hear, you hear about the cars he gave away and all this kind of stuff, but when you find out what he did for charity,
Yeah.
that just blew me away.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh yeah.
They're making fun, really. There's some Christmas songs, and I hate to say it, radio has really just worn out. And they've played it so much, people love to hate it. So there was like a quote unquote drinking game. And they said if you want to really make yourself drunk, get some Jack Daniels in a shot glass. Put it on one of the radio stations in your town that's playing just round the clock Christmas music. Take a shot every time you either hear Last Christmas by Wham or All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. And they said by that time you'll be on the floor because they play that over and
All the
over and
time.
over. And I didn't notice that until they started saying that. Like, there's Mariah Carey. And later, there's Wham.
Until you hear it, right?
And that reminds me of another favorite Christmas song of mine.
What's that?
I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas.
Yep.
I never really liked that song. I don't know why.
I love that song.
Really?
Hmm.
Mine is I ain't getting nothing for Christmas. Mommy
All I
and
Want for
Daddy,
Christmas
you're
is
mad.
All I Want for Christmas is my 2 front
That's
teeth.
another one.
Yep. That's a good
Yeah.
one. I remember
was-
singing that in school.
Yeah, I did too. Was it Alvin and the Chipmunks had one too, didn't they? The
Yeah.
Christmas song.
Hmm.
Wow, we're aging ourselves, folks.
Right.
And of course, one of my favorite rocking Christmas songs, there's two of them that I like, is Run, Run, Rudolph by Chuck Berry
Hmm.
and Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree by Brenda Lee.
Yeah.
Yep.
So those were always must have songs at Christmas time.
Oh yeah. Good ones.
Do y'all remember playing any like Christmas games? And what I mean by that is back when I was in elementary school many years ago, we had, if I remember, maybe the audience would know, they had what they call cake walks. Y'all know what those are?
Mhm.
Hmm.
What they would do is you have a certain number. They'd play a song, mostly a Christmas song. It's almost like musical chairs in a way. But you
Yep.
walk around, and all of a sudden the music stops and say that I'm on number 4, and then they'll draw like a ticket. I can't remember how it goes now.
Yeah.
They draw a ticket. Whoever's on number 4, if you're standing on number 7, you get a cake. Do y'all
Yeah.
remember that?
Yep.
I remember doing that, not really at Christmas, like the school fairs and stuff. We did
Uh-huh.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, the school carnivals.
Yep. Yeah. We really are showing our age.
Yeah.
I'm unlucky. I never won a cake. I never did.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I can remember doing the Christmas coronations at school.
Hmm.
you know.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Did y'all do the Secret Santa anytime in school, where you trade names, you don't tell who and what name you've got, and you're kind of a secret Santa. Whatever name you got, you're buying a gift for that person.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
remember doing it in school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember drawing names,
Mhm.
but the whole Secret Santa thing, I remember more of that being like at workplaces and stuff.
Yeah, me too,
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
work.
And I don't, my family, my wife's family, when we get together, there's like 30 something people now,
Wow.
we do a white elephant Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yep, we do too.
I like Chinese gift exchanges. I have always been a fan of that. I know people that don't really like that, but I love it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the same thing as white elephant?
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
I guess the Chinese got it sometime. So I love how you can, like, someone gets attached to something, all of a sudden, I'll take that now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Well,
it's also called rob your neighbor too.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got a gift that circulates every year, and it's actually a stuffed hippo. Whoever
That's
gets
cool.
whoever gets stuck with a stuffed hippo, you have to add something to it for the next
Mhm.
year.
Oh, that's cool.
That sounds great.
Our new thing this year we're doing, and I do it with my kids and my brother and his family, is we have to add a nasty ornament, and the deal is we have to put it on our tree the following year. So
Oh
that
no.
was fun to order one of those ornaments. Yeah. So and it's going to go on with the white elephant rob your neighbor game. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. One of the most, I guess you could say, funniest Christmas song, if you want to call it a Christmas song I've ever heard. It's by none other than Weird Al Yankovic, and the name of the song is Christmas at Ground Zero. Now, this is long before what we know as Ground Zero now, the 2001. This
Yeah.
is back in the 80s, when Reagan and Gorbachev, there was always a threat of nuclear war.
Yeah.
So Weird Al Yankovic wrote a song called Christmas at Ground Zero, where it's a festive song, but the lyrics are, "Oh, we're ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes the nuclear bomb hitting us." But it was so
Right.
cheerful. I'm like, only Weird Al could get away with that.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. Yep.
Well, we're about out of time, but let me just kind of tell you how I'll spend Christmas. My older mother is in a town, several miles away, but she's going to be spending Christmas with me.
Awesome.
I'll make her some breakfast. I'm going to kind of treat her for a change. So she'll be spending the night, at least a couple of nights with me. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to have a nice Christmas. That's the two of us on Christmas. So how are y'all spending Christmas?
I'm Christmas Eve. I'm going to my brother's, and all of my kids are going to be there. And then on Christmas Day, we're going to my stepson. So.
All right.
Hmm.
We're my kids are coming over, and for Christmas Day, it's one of the few times I don't have to work.
Yay. All right.
I have to work Christmas Eve, but I get off Christmas morning. So
That's
they're all
good.
going to come over. We're going to have dinner together and do our little
Mhm.
gift exchange and stuff.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And
All
the
right.
the big family Christmas we're doing the day before New Year's for some reason. But
Wow. There you go.
I guess that's when everybody's schedules
Yeah.
mix.
They worked.
Well, Tex, Krista, I appreciate you coming on to this special
Thanks for
Christmas
the
show.
invite.
And
Yeah.
to any of the kids watching out there, and just in case you haven't noticed, this guy's going to be coming by your house very, very soon. So if you haven't been good, maybe it's not too late to make amends to mommy or daddy or something. So he's watching you. so,
Yes.
so, so
Merry Christmas, everybody.
yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. And thanks a lot, Tex and Krista, for joining me tonight.
Thanks for the invite. Good
Merry
night.
Bye.
Christmas, everybody.
And that's going to do it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for this whole year. Couldn't have done it without you, my audience and my subscribers. Thank you so much. It's been a lot. It's been a great ride, and hopefully we'll see just as many good things next year. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I hope all your packages are done and wrapped, but most of all, I hope you just have enjoyment with either your family or your friends, or just let it be a nice, peaceful time. So this is Bob Van Buren for the Van Buren Variety Show. I'll see you next week, and Merry Christmas, everybody. Good night.